A team with 2 rookie quarterbacks, a veteran Super Bowl champion, a former first-round pick trying to prove himself, and practically no reliable receivers. This is the current reality of the Cleveland Browns. The franchise that seemed to be restructuring after years of turmoil is now facing offensive uncertainties at every level. And to make matters worse, a possible return to the past is being considered as a solution. If you want to understand the chaos and the opportunities surrounding the Browns at this critical moment, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and stay with me until the end, because today's analysis will go into detail. The situation for the Cleveland Browns in the wide receiver group is at the very least concerning, except for Jerry Jeudy, who still needs to prove he can be the WR1 of a competitive offense. The rest of the wide receiver room is made up of gambles, declining veterans, and inexperienced names. And now, with 2 rookie quarterbacks on the roster, this limitation becomes even more critical. The signing of Deontay Johnson generated some excitement among fans, but the truth is that the former Pro Bowler is far from the player who shown in 2021 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since then, his career has been on the decline, marked by drops in production, team changes, 3 teams just in 2024, and injuries. For a roster that desperately needs consistency, Johnson is far from being a reliable answer. The problem worsens when we remember that the Browns didn't even address the receiver position in the 2025 draft. In other words, they bet all their chips on what they already had, or on undrafted rookies who came in as bottom of the roster reinforcements. This, combined with uncertainty in the offensive command, which we will discuss later, creates an unstable and unencouraging scenario. In light of this, an idea that was only circulating behind the scenes has gained public traction: the possible return of Amari Cooper. Yes, the same Cooper who had a solid stint in Cleveland between 2022 and 2023, especially in his connection with Joe Flacco, is being considered as an emergency solution for the talent shortage in the offensive unit. According to Logan Ulrich of NFL Trade Rumors, the Browns are closely monitoring Cooper's situation. The logic is simple: he knows the offensive system, has proven chemistry with Flacco, who was his favorite target in 2023, and would bring a veteran presence capable of aiding the transition of the younger quarterbacks. In 2023, Cooper had impressive numbers: 72 receptions, 1,250 yards, and 5 touchdowns. But his departure from the team wasn't exactly amicable. The reason? The Browns' refusal to offer a long-term contract extension. The front office decided it would be more prudent to cut ties rather than renew with a player on the decline. Months later, Cooper was traded and had a quiet 2024, signaling that the decision may have been correct. Now the question arises: is bringing Cooper back a step forward or a desperate regression? From a technical standpoint, the answer depends on which version of Amari Cooper is still available. If he can deliver half of what he did in 2023, it would already be a considerable upgrade alongside Jeudy. But emotionally and tactically, the reintegration may not be so simple. The history with the front office is still murky, and it's uncertain whether the player himself would be willing to return to a team that discarded him, especially considering that the Browns are nowhere near being considered title contenders. And that is the cruel irony of the situation. Cleveland may need the old Cooper to help its young quarterbacks, even after having made the strategic decision to leave him behind a year ago. This is a direct reflection of a planning error, neglecting the receiver position and now scrambling to make up for it with stopgap solutions. If the Browns want to offer any type of stability for the rookie quarterbacks, or even for Flacco, they need to do more than rescue names from the past. They need to build a cohesive offense with receivers who can grow alongside the system. Otherwise, 2025 will just be another frustrating chapter in the franchise's long saga of offensive inconsistency. But if the wide receiver group already raises serious doubts, the situation in the Browns' offensive command is even more chaotic and features a name surrounded by expectations, but who is already starting behind in the race. When the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round of the 2025 draft, many analysts and fans believed that Deion Sanders' son would be the franchise's quarterback of the future, or at least the favorite to take the position this year. But according to former receiver TJ Houshmandzadeh, this assessment may be completely misguided. In a recent statement, Houshmandzadeh revealed that, according to internal sources from the Browns, Sanders is behind Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett in the battle for the starting position. Yes, behind Gabriel, Gabriel, another rookie selected before him in the draft, and Pickett, who came to Cleveland as a low-impact option after being released by the Pittsburgh Steelers. This completely changes the outlook for Sanders, who entered the league surrounded by hype and with potential steal of the draft status. The situation becomes even more curious when we remember that Cleveland also signed Joe Flacco. In other words, the team has 2 rookies, 2 veterans, 4 quarterbacks in competition, and no certainties. The scenario is so undefined that the franchise could easily start the season with any of them as the starter, or even rotate names based on performance. For Sanders, this early journey in the NFL already presents a significant obstacle, even with a strong name, fan support, and a college history under the guidance of his own father. He enters a franchise that has already shown, through actions, that it may not see him as the immediate future. By drafting Gabriel first and making it clear that Pickett is also in the mix, the Browns send an indirect but powerful message. Sanders will have to earn his spot like any other 5th-round player. It's important to remember that Sanders' drop in the draft from a projected 1st rounder to the 5th round is still a topic of debate among experts. Some point to technical issues, such as reading the game under pressure. Others highlight concerns about leadership style or dependence on a system that tailored to him in Colorado. Regardless, the Browns made a low-risk bet, and now need to decide how much that bet is worth amidst a fierce competition full of implications. The reality is that Cleveland seems indecisive about which path it wants to take at the most important position in football. Does it want to compete now with Flacco? Does it want to invest in Pickett's development? Does it want to give Gabriel space to show his worth? Or does it hope that Sanders will surprise and take the position with raw talent? This lack of offensive direction could be lethal in 2025, especially since none of the quarterbacks have a reliable group of receivers to work with. And as we've seen, the franchise seems to be trying to put out fires rather than following a structured development plan. In the end, what seemed like a healthy battle for position may end up becoming a minefield of wrong decisions and frustrated expectations. The Cleveland Browns are trying to restructure their offensive identity, but continue to stumble over contradictory decisions. In the wide receiver group, they rely on fragile pieces and consider turning to a former player already released. In the quarterback group, they promote an open competition without clarity on who they really want to develop. The truth is that there is a lack of conviction in the planning, and that, in the NFL, comes at a high cost. Question for the fans: do you think the Browns should bring Amari Cooper back, even with the complicated history? And who should be the starting quarterback by week 1? If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, comment below your opinion, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay close to everything involving the uncertain and turbulent future of the Cleveland Browns. See you next time.